Hello and welcome to this new episode of Continuum Gaming, and in this episode we are going to talk about something pretty special. So in the end what you all know is at the 8th of July the new Jolla Phone 2 or Jolla Phone 2026, depending on what you want to call it, is going to be released to the public, and people are going to have it on a big party and so on and so forth. But there was something else cooking in the kitchen of Jolla, as it seems, because Commodore is a very, very old computer manufacturer, whatever, which was the original author of the C64, C64, a very, very iconic thing, I would say, a brand that is really well known under tech enthusiasts, which are, now my age or older, I would say, maybe even older, because I didn't have a C64. I already had my first PC, was already a normal DOS machine, Windows machine, whatever. It was not a C64. And even so, they seem to be still in business, and they are still doing stuff like this, for instance. Very interesting. It's the second phone, I think, from Commodore they ever released, and this one is running Sailfish OS at the underground or at the base level, whatever. They're putting on a very, very different approach here because it's a flip phone, as you can see. So we're not talking about touchscreens and stuff like that, or at least not majorly touchscreen based, whatever. We are going to talk about that later on. But it's really a flip phone meant to be less scroll, more soul, as they say. Really interesting concept here, and this one can be pre-ordered, I think now, or will be in a couple of days. It's open, I'm not sure. And it's a very, very interesting phone for people who want to detox themselves, or who want to, for instance, give their children something they can work with. For instance, in different kinds of countries on the world now, we have some kind of a social media restriction, for instance, for at least teenagers or children or whatever, depending on the country. And this phone might be an answer to that. And of course, if you don't want to be that much addicted to scrolling on social media and stuff like that, that should be a good one too, because this phone doesn't allow all this. So let's have a look at the website of them. As you can see, this is more or less the phone already. We saw it there, and they have a couple of different very, very interesting things. Here's the phone again in different kinds of colors. So there's this transparent one, you can see it here again. We have a couple of other ones too. For instance, there's one in beige. Is it beige in English? I think so. There is one in gold if you really want to go into deep and pay a lot more, because that one is really in gold, and there seems to be real gold involved in this, okay? So like that, it's more expensive, which is a weak point of this phone, I would say, but let's have a look. In the end, what this is all about is you can not install a browser on this, in an easy way at least. And you should not be allowed to get, for instance, social media apps on this and stuff like that. It's really, really interesting concept for people who really want to give, for instance, for their children or whatever, a smartphone. And it's not really smart, I would say. It's something in between, okay? You have something like a navigational app and stuff like that. That should be there. You will have a couple of messenger apps, for instance, too. So if you want to talk by WhatsApp, I think it's WeChat that is supported, Telegram, something like that. That is possible, but not real social media networks. So no Facebook, no Instagram, no X, no whatever, okay? So these kinds of things are blocked on the smartphone, not easy to install, probably not possible to install, I'm not sure, maybe it's hackable or something, but at the moment it's not easy to do that on this phone. And like that, people who really shouldn't use social media because it's restricted in your country or whatever, this is a smartphone for you then. Okay, so what you already can see is it will be a really tough one for people writing a lot of text, I would say, because I'm not sure if you're aware of what T9 means. T9 means is more or less functionality which helps you to write text on phones which don't have any kind of real large keyboard on them or have any kind of touchscreen where they can show that. And this one is a pretty small one, of course, too. So we are not talking about something like, I don't know, this kind of screen size or 6 or 7 inches of screen size where you can type on or stuff like that. But it's really just, I think it's 3 inches, something like that in that direction. We would have to go down and see it there. But it's a really, really small one, and so you need this T9 style texting. So on this kind of a smartphone there, or on this kind of keyboard, better to say, which seems to be a real functional one, a real world one. So it's not a digital one projected on the screen or something. It's really just the buttons showing there. And as you can see, that was a very common thing to have in a long time ago, more or less. Where you had this kind of 1, 2, 3 and so on keypad, where there are buttons for the letters on them, okay? And you had to press them for a couple of times or write with them, and this is T9 style. Meaning, even if you use this for WhatsApp or whatever, you're not going to write longest texts or something like that on there, yeah? We are not talking about something that will help you with AI or text recognition or whatever. All of these seem to be blocked. It's not about SailfishOS. You could do that on SailfishOS, but it's about Commodore and this concept, okay? They are trying to get rid of all of this. And being, of course, a very, very data protective one. So privacy first. As you can see, even if privacy first switches on this smartphone, seems to be a physical one. And we have a couple of other things here mentioned in that direction. No data setting, browsers not allowed, okay? So you can't install, as it seems, browsers on this smartphone. There are a couple of things that you can do. For instance, if you have an app which you want to install, because as you can see, 99 of all Android apps should work, with the exception of the social media ones, as I mentioned before. But sometimes you will have to have something like a browser to log into an app or whatever. That should be possible, as they say. And it's a really, really interesting concept all over. Really, this is not the typical smartphone for everybody, okay? We're not talking about something like that. The Jolla Phone 2, for instance, should be something that most people can use. This one, probably not. If you are into other kind of stuff, as a daily driver, you might need something else there, okay? But if you are, for instance, giving it to your children, or you will have to buy something like that just to phone, just to text a little bit so that you can talk to your children on several kinds of apps, probably a good idea, okay? And of course, if you are just addicted and want to get rid of your smartphone because it's just hurting you, so if you are really somebody who is not able to put away the smartphone even in situations where they should, then this might be a good opportunity for you too, because no doom scrolling involved, without a real browser and without all the Instagram stuff and so on and so forth. You really are not going to doom scroll much, because what should you doom scroll? Maybe a couple of WhatsApp groups or whatever, but very, very different from the other way around, okay? So, as you can see, they have a real trailer. I won't play to you in fully or whatever, but have a look at that. I'm going to put the link down below just if you want to watch that. Let's go down a little bit. Here you can see it, smart where it counts, okay, cool. We have a pretty good Sony camera probably. We have, so it's a smartphone it's a phone with a pretty good camera on it. It seems that the battery is going to be removable and exchangeable easily. You will have a headphone jack, so if you're into that and want to play music or whatever, and you want to have physical connected headphones like these ones, probably wired, then it's possible with the smartphone. So, or with this flip phone, smartphone, I don't know, let's call it flip phone. And like that, you can go and get that. And here you can already see, okay, it's not yet there, but very close to be open for pre-orders. It's a little bit of a hefty price, I think. So it starts at 35, round about 350 euros in this case. I think that's a little bit high still, but whatever. Maybe the brand and stuff like that will help you there. And of course, if you want to get rid of any kind of addiction stuff or whatever, then this might be worth it a couple of times even. So yeah, so try it out. If you really want to know more about this whole experience, the smartphone and so on, please have a look at the link down below in my my box there. I'm going to put it into the video description box, and it's a really interesting concept to have all of this. So we can have a look at the comparison. This is just more like a joke, okay? We are not talking about much here. As you can see, there are a couple of other phones which have something similar in common or tried it in a similar way. But as you can see, of course, the Commodore one will, of course, win all this because they are the people providing it. And very important, they are the cheapest of those options. So that is probably an interesting thing too. So the other ones in general are some kind of smartphones anyway. So they can do a little bit more in other directions. But if you don't want to do more, then this might be a pretty good one for you. Funny thing here, 1982, so very old ago, it blocked social media too. Yeah, they just have this kind of humor. I like it. And as you can see, it's a cooperation between SailfishOS and Commodore. It's called the Commodore Callback, as mentioned before. So it's this kind of smartphone. And all of these icons here are SailfishOS icons. So you already can see, okay, a couple of native SailfishOS applications will be on the phone too. Something like, for instance, OpenStreetMap is there. So Pure Maps on SailfishOS is using OpenStreetMap's data, and that one seems to be there. We have a media player. We have stuff like this is I think the tutorial app. I don't know. And texting is supported, of course. Settings. This is a calculator, camera stuff, and so on and so forth. So seems like they have a couple of native ones there in there too, which is a great thing to have. And should help them even further, because then SailfishOS apps can run on this, and we can run Android apps with the AAS layer, so Android App Support, that's the name of that, and that makes it possible to run up to 99%, as they claim here. I'm not sure if that is true, but close to it, of Android apps on this smartphone. But very important, be aware. It is a touchscreen, so if there is an app that really absolutely needs something to be done, be on a touchscreen, and use that with that, it's possible to use it if Commodore more or less told them that they can do that. So they will have to more or less make it possible. So there's a whitelist somewhere where it's in there that they can use a touchscreen. I think it's handled like that. It's not all totally clear, but that seems to be the case here, okay? If you go down a little bit more and more and more, there are a couple of things here. If you want to read them, do that. As you can see, we have a couple of things that you want on your smartphone, but stuff that you don't want, you don't have to use it. Perfect, okay? It's a nice claim and something we want here. There is going to be some kind of accessories with this, so you can use that one if you want to. Here's a little bit of a technical detailed stuff. So in the end, the smartphone will have 4 GB of RAM in there and 64 of a gigabyte of hard disk space, whatever, so space to save stuff on. We will have an LTE band included for all the countries on the world, as it seems, because this smartphone seems to be available in the US. And probably Australia, for instance, which is a good thing for them because they have one of the more restrictive laws about all the social media usage of kids and teenagers and stuff like that, okay? So as you can see, there are a couple of other informations here. It's, for instance, a 3.25 inches of main display in this case, so a very small one. If you're into small phones, this is probably a good one for you then. And as you already can see, it's a pretty bad resolution, but it's a small phone, so maybe that's fine. I think I didn't calculate that, but for a 3.2 or 3/4 whatever inch display, that might be okay. I don't know. And as you can see, removable battery, we have a dual SIM slot in there, we have a couple of other things here, like a 32 gigabyte micro SD card, which is important because you can sideload apps on them, okay? So still no social media apps for some kind of reason. I think they have a blacklist or whatever, I'm not sure. But if you want to do other stuff, then 32 gigabyte of RAM, of SSD, micro SSD can be put in there, and you can, for instance, put on them probably something like an Android app from F-Droid or whatever. So that should be fine too. USB-C is in there, of course, because nowadays every smartphone or every phone in the end, doesn't matter if it's smart or not, has to have USB-C to be loaded, at least in the EU and in other parts of the world. I think it's the same more or less. At least the market is demanding that much, that it's more or less a common given. Okay, so let's go down. More information can be found here because there's a really long list of FAQ, okay? So does it have AI? I can already say no. Can you install own apps? Probably not that much, because there are a couple of web browsers and social media apps which are blocked at the system level, but other things that you want to install, of course you can do that. And so just have a look at all of these down below. It's a really long list. And you can see there are a lot of different questions answered here. Does it have NFC? No, it doesn't, so be aware of that. Even email seems not to be there. I don't know why they are doing that. If they allow message apps, then they can of course allow emails, but whatever you want to have there, maybe for the detoxing stuff, if you're on holidays or something, then this is a good idea, because otherwise you are going to connect your account to that, and it might be a problem then too. Anyway, very interesting. Have a look at that if you have any kind of questions. There's a long list here. Please make sure that you really read all of them. There's a lot of very interesting questions already answered here. So for instance, does it work with my carrier? Okay, so sure, you need to know about that. And a couple of other things, pretty much something like that. For instance, Wi-Fi hotspot, can I use that? Yes, you can. You can do a Wi-Fi hotspot with the smartphone and, for instance, connect your PC or whatever to it. And so on and so forth. So make sure that you read everything here. Very important. Because I heard it before, and I really wish you wouldn't do that. Even if you're interested in this smartphone, I wouldn't cancel your J2 order, okay? Just think about it, you will know why I'm talking about that, because the prices have gone up crazy. So if you are canceling your J2 order and you are in one of the former or first batches, for instance, it's a bad idea, okay? Calculate it through, you will see why. Anyway, other than that, really interesting concept here. Even Jolla, for instance, have a press release about that. So it's an officially supported device by Jolla, as you can see, because they really have this official information about all this, and they work together. And yeah, it's more or less a very interesting thing that they brought out this press release, where you can read everything about this new flip phone again, and yeah, just talking about what's going on and what we already talked about in our video here in our episode, but really interesting stuff. So this one, if you want to read it in fully, I will put the link down below too. And yeah, this is more or less the media coverage of it. So a couple of really bigger ones are talking about it already, maybe more will come. So PC Games Hardware DE, Heise is talking about it, and a couple of other things, but it's a niche market, so we are talking about a small media coverage at the moment, but the Commodore brand is really pushing them a little bit, and so I really like the concept. I think it's a great idea for the right people. So if you are one of those people who need this kind of smartphone, or not smartphone, dumb phone, flip phone, whatever, just smart enough phone, let's call it that, then you probably should have a look at that. It's a really, really nice concept, and I think it could be a pretty great one if you want to have a look at that. And then I would say we are through with this episode, and thank you for watching, thank you for listening. We are all eagerly waiting for the 8th of July in this case. As you can see, I'm really sweating a lot. Sorry about that. I have, I think, in this room 36 degrees of Celsius, of course, or even higher than that. So sorry that I'm sweating, but I can't do anything about it. I don't have an AC, and it's really hot outside. So other than that, thank you for watching. See you around. Have a great time, of course. Have a look at the different links here just to make sure you get everything. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to the channel, I'm very happy if you do so. And other than that, thank you for watching. See you around, and bye. Bye.